So why don't we just jump in with a fabulous blessing, and then we're going to go on a journey. See what I did there? The Parsha Lech Lecha. Give me a little taste there. Going on a journey. Here we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu ritzotav vetzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Amen.
May we be soaked in Torah. May we get busy with Torah. Let's do some fabulous engagement and learning. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. So where are we now? We are, this is very exciting. We are in Lech Lecha. Go forth. You go forth. And we're talking about, get ready for this, Avram and Sarai. Avram and Sarai. Who are they? Who are Avram and Sarai? It's not Avraham and it's not Sarah, not yet anyway. But here is in this portion, we got some juicy stuff. This is one of the places, or this is the place where their names are changed to Avraham and Sarah, where the letter A is added to their names. Very exciting stuff. Very exciting stuff. All right. But before we get there, I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. This is going to be fascinating right here to me. I'm very curious as to what you all have to say about this next question that I have for you. All right. Here we are. Lech Lecha. I'm going to just make this so I could see everybody. Boom. Everybody, how we doing? Is that everybody? I think so. Yofi Tofi. Make this a little smaller for me. Bring this over. Is this big enough for everybody? Can you see the text?
Yes.
Wonderful, fabulous. Okay, here we go. This is it. Adonai said to Avram, or Abram, right? We're not Avraham yet. Go forth from your native land and from your father's house to the land that I will show you. All right. I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you. I will bless you. And here's an interesting, and I will make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. I will bless you, and you will be a blessing. Those to me sound like two very different things. Two very different things. Let's kind of, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm not sharing that with anybody. Not sharing, this is what I meant to do. Stop the share. Right off the bat, this is a very fascinating question. There are two things here. What is the difference between I will bless you, and that could be for anything. I'm going to bless you with, or when I say God bless you, right? When you sneeze, or just I would like to bless you with, versus being a blessing. What's the difference between blessing someone, I'm going to give you a blessing, versus you are a blessing? I will bless you versus you are a blessing. What are some thoughts, just initial things that pop into your head? Initial things. Ben, go ahead.
Thank you, Rabbi. Well, just kind of spitballing here. If you bless me, it's great if I'm blessed by the rabbi. That's a good thing. But if I am blessed, it feels like and I'm going to use a term, mojo, or my blessing powers might be able to spread or carry to others.
Okay, so all right. So what? But that is still bestowing something onto you. What is the difference between me right? You've been bestowed, and now you get to bestow onto others. But what does it mean to be the blessing oneself versus I will bless you, or like I'll put my hands upon you and may I offer you this blessing, right? When we do with our kids, right? When we put our hands on there and we say this blessing. But what does it mean? Ben, keep going with, where'd you go? Where'd you go, Ben?
My apologies. The higher power, even if there is such a thing, a higher power is calling me. I need to step away for
All
one
right, go
moment,
ahead.
Rabbi. My apologies to you
No
and the
problem.
class.
Come back. I'll give you the floor. Then I
I
saw
will.
Merle.
Thank you, sir.
I'm thinking that being a blessing means you did something that people really appreciate. To be blessed means you might have done something, but it requires a blessing. It requires acknowledgement that you've done something, and that's why you're being blessed. I think.
Yeah, okay. All right. Okay. I like it, Merle. I like it. Nina, go ahead.
He's blessing him, so he's giving him the brain or the opportunity to understand what it is that is happening to him. And then when he does it, when he's a blessing himself, he inspires others. He is able to bless others.
Love it.
It started with him, but he becomes I would say, like the inspirer. So whatever it is that he's blessed with was a gift that will make him better. So now he is about to kind of continue or to convey to others.
The blessing, if I'm going to bless you and I'm giving you this blessing, that only exists in potential. You now have to do something with it. It's not all of a sudden like magically poof.
Exactly.
You're like, may you be blessed with, like when we said, may you be blessed with the strength to move forward on your journey. All right, you're going to give me that strength. I'm going to be blessed with the strength, but it's wasted until I actually do something with it.
There is another thing to it. Between the word Baruch, blessed, and Bracha, blessing, the Hey is there. And the Hey is the one that was also...
don't give it away yet. Nina, ma kore po? Lama dafka?
Okay, no, shut. Okay.
Giving away stuff, man. What?
Okay, I won't.
Man, Nina, ma הולך פה, באמת. Anybody else have thoughts on this idea before we keep going? Go ahead, Rebecca.
So I have said to people, you are a blessing to me.
Yeah.
Because they've been so kind and so helpful and in some way have made my day or my life better, that I want to say to them, you have been a blessing to me. Thank you for being in my life.
So rather than you have blessed me, you have been the blessing to me. I like that. I like that. Merle, go ahead.
So I'm just thinking, yesterday I went to the nephrologist for my yearly checkup. And
fabulous segue.
Yeah, but wait, it is. When I was leaving her office, she told me that I'm blessed. And I guess, I mean, I was trying to figure this out on the way home. She keeps telling me I'm blessed, I guess because I've taken care of myself and I'm healthy. This is a guessing game here, but she keeps telling me I'm blessed. Well, I am blessed with wonderful friends and family, etc. But when I left her office, she kept saying to me, you are blessed. And I didn't want to ask her what she meant, but I'm assuming it meant that I've taken care of myself and I'm healthy.
That is fascinating. So sometimes we don't even recognize that in ourselves.
No.
We don't recognize the blessings in our life that we are blessed. So that's kind of that we are the receivers. But in order to be that for others, it needs to be active. I like this.
It's not like I'm some health inspirational person. I just take care of myself.
Awesome. Stacy.
But I don't know.
Thank you, Merle.
Okay. I was just going to say in response to Merle.
Yeah.
My reaction would be, why not just ask her, well, what do you specifically mean by that? Because you may be right that you have taken good care of your health, but maybe there's something in addition that she is aware of just medically I mean, just, I would be curious to ask that question.
Well, I'm pretty sure I read my numbers before I went in from my blood work, and I'm pretty sure
That was what it was.
that's what it's about. But she's also a very difficult person to carry on a conversation with. There's a language barrier
What
there.
is it? What's a nephrologist? I don't even know what a nephrologist
It's my
does.
kidney doctor. Remember when I had to have a kidney removed?
Yes, I remember that.
Okay,
Nephrologist.
well, apparently,
I don't know why nephrologist sounds like something to do with the schnoz, but I guess
Well,
it
that's
doesn't. I don't know.
wrong part of the body, but
Wrong part of the
that's
body,
a
but
good-
it just sounds like it. All right, thank you. Phenomenal. All right, moving on. Thank you, Stacy. Moving on. Other comments before we move to the next interesting thing over here. Fabulous. All right, here we go. So we know that, so in this story, he's like, all right, here, I want you to go. You're going to just pick up, you're going to leave the only place you've ever known, your father's home, your family's home. You're going to pick up, and I just want you to start walking. And here's the catch. I'm not even going to tell you where you're going. I'm just going to let you know when you get there, right? You're going to the promised land. And if you do this, everything's going to be amazing. I'm going to make of you a great nation, and you will be blessed, and I will make your name great. You shall be a blessing, and you're going to be going to this brand new land, your brand new home, right? The land which we know to be the land of Canaan, which eventually becomes the biblical land of Israel. But this is very fascinating here. Get ready for this. Share my screen. Lech Lecha. All right, here we go. And God appeared to Abraham and said, I will assign this land to your offspring. And Abram built an altar there to Adonai, who had appeared to him. From there, he moved on to the hill country east of Bethel and pitched his tent with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. And he built there an altar to Adonai and invoked Adonai's name. Get ready for this. So he just got there, moving around a little bit. All right, yay, I made it. I've been, I'm in my late 70s, early 80s by this time. I made it. Wonderful. And then what happens? As soon as he gets there, boom, there was a famine in the land. As soon as he gets to this great place, this supposed land of flowing with milk and honey, which we learn about later, boom, there's a famine. And Abram went down to Egypt. Get ready for this. This is fascinating. Check out what happened here. Then he went down to Egypt. Does that sound familiar? Oh, there's a famine in the land. Go down to Egypt. This happens a lot here. Famine was severe in the land. And as he went about to enter Egypt, he said to his wife, Sarai, get ready for this. I know what a beautiful woman you are. If the Egyptians see you and think she is his wife, they will kill me and let you live. Please say, meaning Abram to Sarai, please say that you are my sister, that it may go well with me because of you, and that I may remain alive thanks to you. When Abram entered Egypt, the Egyptians saw how very beautiful this woman was. Pharaoh's courtiers saw her and praised her to Pharaoh, and the woman was taken into Pharaoh's palace. What does that mean? And because of her, it went well with Abram. He acquired sheep and oxen and asses and male and female slaves, she-asses and camels. But Adonai afflicted Pharaoh and his household with mighty plagues. Fascinating. On account of Sarai, the wife of Abram, Pharaoh sent for Abram and said, what is this you have done to me? Why did you not tell me that she was your wife? Why did you say she's my sister so that I took her as my wife? Now here is your wife. Take her and be gone. And Pharaoh put agents in charge of him, and they sent him off with his wife and all that he possessed. What is going on here? As soon as he gets to the promised land, boom, he has to leave. And he says to Sarai, hey, pretend you're my sister so, nothing's going to happen to me. And he's like, all right, we don't hear Sarai's voice here. We hear nothing. We don't hear if she agrees. We don't hear if she's like, dude, this is not cool. You can't do that. We don't hear anything. We just see that it happens. We don't know what she's thinking. We just see it happens. And when it says that, it's almost as if, since Abram said Sarai is his sister, give Sarai to Pharaoh. he gets all this stuff in return. I'm like, oh, look at all my stuff that I got. I just gave Sarai to the Pharaoh. And Pharaoh says, I'm going to make you my wife. There is an assumption here. There is an assumption here. I don't like to make assumptions. You know what happens when you assume. I don't like to make assumptions. But there is assumption here when he says, I made her my wife, that Pharaoh might have had his way with Sarai. And it's after that happens that all these plagues happen. It's not as if she just come over to the house and they're, having coffee, and then all of a sudden the place is hit with plagues, right? There's probably more going on here. So what do we think? And Pnina, don't give away the next thing.
I'm not saying a thing.
You really? You're not going to say a thing? How many of you on this Zoom believe her? This guy, not me. This is interesting here, right? What do we think about Abram over here, this great nation who gives up his sister to Pharaoh? What are our thoughts on this? What are our thoughts? All right, go ahead.
Me?
No, what's Bellison?
Oh,
Is that your last name?
No, it's Brad.
I know, Brad, but what's Bellison?
B. Ellison.
Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, I mean, isn't this a bit the classical theme of the trickster? This is a trick that works, in fact. Of course, Ulysses is the most famous trickster of antiquity, but Abram uses a trick that saves him, and without this trick, he probably would have perished. So it's a trick that works.
It's a trick that works. I mean, it's like in the long run, I guess, but we don't hear Sarai in this. We don't know what happened to her. We don't know if she agrees. We don't know if she went willingly, begrudgingly. She understood the consequences. She didn't understand the consequences. All we know is that he did this and he got all these things.
Yeah, but the Lord said that he would make Abram a blessing. He didn't say he was going to make Sarai a blessing.
And did she want him to have this blessing so badly that she would do whatever she was told to do?
Gosh, we don't have that voice. We don't have that voice. And there are so many indications in our story. The fact that we don't hear her voice when it comes to these things, and we only hear Sarai's voice a little bit later when it comes to Hagar and Ishmael, and that doesn't work out so well for them. But we don't hear her voice when she's put in these cuckoo situations. We also don't hear her voice when later on, when Abraham takes Isaac up to sacrifice, we don't hear her voice. We just know they never speak again after this whole cuckoo-ness. So there's a very important part missing here. However, something interesting happens again. Now, this is going to be just a technicality. Get ready for this technicality. All right, just get ready for this technicality. Wait a second here. I'm going to share. Get ready for this. All right, so this was one time that it happened. So Pharaoh put agents in charge of him and they sent him off with his wife and all that he possessed. So now he's got all this stuff. He sent Sarai into Pharaoh to get to be with the Pharaoh. And then Pharaoh's like, why did you do this with me? Take your stuff with you. All the stuff I gave you, you could keep it. Check it out. So that was 12. Okay. We jump ahead. This is not in our Torah portion. This comes later to Genesis 20. Okay. Get ready for this. Abraham. So now his name has already changed. So something already happened. Get to how this changes, because now it's no longer Abram, it's Abraham. Abraham journeyed from there to the region of the Negev and settled between Kadesh and Shur. While he was sojourning in Gerar, Abraham said of Sarah, because now her name is different too, so maybe there is a blessing going on with that too. She is my sister. So King Avimelech of Gerar had Sarah brought to him. But God came to Avimelech in a dream by night and said to him, you are to die because of the woman that you have taken, for she is a married woman. Now Avimelech had not approached her. He said, oh Lord, will you slay people even though innocent? He himself said to me, she is my sister. This dude lied. How am I supposed to know? Right? And she also said, he is my brother. Oh, so she went along with it this time. We don't hear it directly during that time. We just say that this is what she said. She said, he said, she said, right? And she also said, he is my brother. When I did this, my heart was blameless and my hands were clean. And God said to him in the dream, I knew that you did this with a blameless heart, and so I kept you from sinning against me. That was why I did not let you touch her. Ooh. This is different than what happened before. This is different than what happened before. We don't know Pharaoh did or Pharaoh did or did not, right? He probably did, but we don't know for sure. But this is get ready for this. This is going to be interesting. You ready for this? So I kept you from sinning against me. That was why I did not let you touch her. Therefore, restore the man's wife. Since he is a prophet, he will intercede for you to save your life. If you fail to restore her, know that you shall die, and you and all that are yours. Early next morning, Avimelech called his servants and told them all that had happened, and they were greatly frightened. You ready for this? This is really exciting. Then Avimelech summoned Abraham and said to him, what have you done to us? What wrong have I done that you should bring so great a guilt upon me and my kingdom? You have done to me things that ought not be done. Then Avimelech demanded of Abraham, was your purpose in doing this? I thought, said Abraham, surely there is no fear of God in this place, and they will kill me because of my wife. And besides, okay, here's the technicality. And besides, she is in truth my sister, my father's daughter, though not my mother's, and she became my wife. So when God made me wander from my father's house, I said to her, let this be the kindness that you shall do me. Whatever place we come to, say there of me, he is my brother. So Avimelech took a bunch of stuff, he restored, blah, 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 and they were off. He got more stuff. He got even more stuff. So now, be like, let's see what this next one. It could be like Abraham and Sarah were in cahoots on this. So this second experience, right, informs the first. The second experience informed the first. Now we hear, again, we never hear Sarah actually say anything like this. But it was like, all right, technically you are my sister. Yes, we're married and you are my wife, but technically you're my sister. Let's go with that. Let's go with that when we meet up with these people. Let's go with that. So technically you're my sister. And then, maybe something will happen. We'll be in cahoots here. You'll go in there and be like, not say anything. God's going to jump in because, we are now the prophets over here. I am the prophet, which, we consider Sarah also. And she's like, all right, we're going to do this. And we got a whole bunch of stuff. And this is how we're going to grow our wealth. Oh, Penina's shaking her head. Go ahead, Penina.
Okay. There is a very important thing that we are overlooking here. The life of the early Hebrews were very much entwined with the Egyptian culture and with Egypt. That's why Abraham was so comfortable going down there right away. And it wasn't a lie. It was customary at that time. The pharaohs married their sisters to keep the crown within the family. And that's why they didn't live long. They died young because it doesn't do you very good when you intermarry constantly within your own family. So it says there that Abraham said that his half his sister, she was, but it was acceptable at that time. The only problem was that Pharaoh probably wasn't very happy that she was already
Yeah, of course he wasn't happy that
Was
she
the
was
wife
already
of
married.
another man. Yeah,
Yeah. But
exactly.
so, okay, that's fine that they
So
did
the
that.
thing is that
Not
it
fine
wasn't
that
a
they did
lie,
that.
and
Well,
that's why.
that's what I'm saying, Pnina. Yes, it wasn't a lie, but it was like technically.
Okay.
Let's go with this.
Okay. So you
Because
don't
he
want
could
to
have very
go with the
easily
hay
said
yet,
that
right?
is my wife. He could have very,
You want
but he
the
said
hay still out of it?
let's
Leaving the hay?
technically.
I'm asking.
We'll get to the hay. We're gonna go
Okay.
Rebecca and then Brad. Rebecca, then Brad.
So you want me to get to the hay?
Oglo, no.
Oh, not yet? Okay. All right.
Rebecca.
Okay.
So to me, it's kind of a reversal. Sarah is now the blessing because she's the one that saves the day.
Whoa. Like it.
She saves the
All
day.
right.
Abraham goes away with all of this wealth.
Kind of yet to see Abraham being the blessing. We see that he's been blessed, but we have yet to see him being the blessing. That's fascinating.
Sarah's now the blessing because she has saved the day. And Pharaoh gets to leave with all the cattle and the silver and whatever.
And the slaves, everything. He gets all this stuff. Sarah is I like that. Thank you, Rebecca. Brad, go ahead.
Well, I'm just reacting to what Pnina said about incest being acceptable in the ancient world. Of course, we know that the Oedipus story tells us quite the contrary. So, there is pretty much a universal condemnation in all cultures against incest. So I'm not sure I buy that argument about that being acceptable morally to this population.
That's fascinating point. I don't know. That's a really great point, Brad. Thank you. All right, now get ready for this next. Wait, does anybody else have something they want to say on this particular point? This particular point, Pnina. Fabulous. All right, get ready for this. So we've established, okay, Abraham and Sarah, they were half siblings. We've established that. So technically, he wasn't lying when he said it. It's still a bit murky, but at least he had that to go on, right? He had that to go on. But check out this. Check out this next one. I'm jumping ahead to yet another Torah portion in 26 Genesis. There was a famine in the land. Aside from the previous famine that had occurred in the days of Abraham, Isaac. Now we're talking about Isaac. We're talking about Isaac and Rebekah. And Isaac went to Avimelech, king of the Philistines in Gerar. Adonai had appeared to him and said, do not go down to Egypt. Stay in the land which I point out to you. Reside in this land, and I will be with you and bless you. I will assign all these lands to you and to your heirs. Fulfill the oath that I swore to your father Abraham. So this time, this famine going on, he says to Isaac, don't go all the way down to Egypt. Stay up in this area. Come hang out here still. Don't go anywhere. I will make your heirs as numerous as the stars of heaven and assign you the heirs of all these lands. So Isaac stayed in Gerar. When the local leaders, when the local leaders asked him about his wife, he said, oh, she's my sister. She's my sister. For he was afraid to say my wife, thinking the local leaders might kill him on account of Rebekah, for she is beautiful. When some time had passed, Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked out of the window, saw Isaac fondling his wife Rebekah. Abimelech sent for Isaac and said, she's your wife. Say she's my sister. Isaac said to him, because I thought I might lose my life on account of her. Abimelech said, what have you done to us? One of the men might have lain with your wife, and you would have brought guilt upon us. Abimelech then charged all the people, saying, anyone who molests this man or his wife shall be put to death. Isaac sowed in that land and reaped 100-fold to the same year. Adonai blessed him, and the man grew richer and richer until he was very wealthy. He acquired flocks. Then finally, he's got all this stuff, and Abimelech said to Isaac, go away from us, for you have become far too big for us. So, check it out. This time, nothing to stand on. It was not his sister. Isaac was not his sister. Isaac said, oh, I was afraid. Great. I mean, good reason, but we don't know what happened. So it wasn't that Avimelech was going to take her, but it's like, we just brother and sister hanging out here. But then when he saw that, was he checking up on her? So we don't know why he was necessarily checking up on them. But then he saw that, and then he was like, why'd you do that? We don't want all these other people. What'll happen? Penina, what you want to say?
I want to say that it strikes me all the time that again famine, which shows you that they really didn't know what to do with the land. And the first thing that was overlooked on that piece that we read in the beginning is that Abraham, the first thing he did is dug a well to get to water. It was a no-man's land. People lived there. It was like tribes, like fighting among themselves and everything. And they lived wherever it is that's there without thinking that they have to regrow things. So what did he do? First of all, he dug a well. And then we have to see again Rav, again famine, and again they go down to Egypt. So there is a very comfortable, I would say, a place to go to. It's kind of like, it was like a second home. Like there was hunger. So, okay, we go down there again. We go down there. So this is something that we are looking always at wherever the spiritual, how the spiritual momentum grew, but we are avoiding the fact that the land was hard, barren. They were hit with famine over and over again. It had to be fixed. It had to be rebuilt. It had to be occupied by people who knew what to do with it.
Well, that is an interesting point, but we'll see in a second. Go ahead, Brad.
That's okay.
Well, I wonder if we shouldn't look at this as a prelude to the Exodus story. Because
absolutely.
Out, Brad.
Because Abimelech comes across as an enlightened leader, and we see quite the contrary with Pharaoh. So this is already setting the stage,
Brad,
for what's to come.
Get ready for this. You ready for something special? Get ready. The next thing, so we're back into the story. We're back into our Parsha. We're back into Parsha and Lech Lecha. Here's what God says. And God said to Abram, see, we're back to know well that your offspring shall be strangers in a land not theirs, and they shall be enslaved and oppressed for 400 years. Brad, you're totally right. But I will execute judgment on the nation they shall serve, and in the end, they shall go free with great wealth. As for you, you shall go to your ancestors in peace. You shall be buried at a ripe old age, and they shall return here in the 4th generation, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet complete. The iniquity of the Amorites is not yet complete. So, Brad, you are absolutely right. Even here, it's pretty much spelled out that this is going to happen. This is already spelled out, and the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet complete. It's as if they still have a lot more bad things to do before they can come back in, right, and displace them in some form or another. Brad, fabulous job there. Fabulous job. So already in Lech Lecha, right? It's a prelude to the next book. Already we have a little taste. And here you see he's still Avram. Now we're going to get to... So what's also interesting here, right? We know Avram he's like at a ripe old age. He's probably well into his 80s, early 90s. And we still yet to have any response to... I'm going to make your name great, and I'm going to make your ancestors this, that, and the other thing, but I have no children. We still don't really see him questioning this, right? We still don't really see him questioning this until, all right, now, here we go. I'm going to share this next piece. Here we go. Share. Move this over. Push this button. All right. When Abram was 99 years old, I appeared to Abram and said to him, I am El Shaddai. Walk in my ways and be blameless. I will establish my covenant between me and you, and I will make you exceedingly numerous. Abraham threw himself on his face, and God spoke to him further. As for me, this is my covenant with you. You shall be the father of a multitude of nations. Keep saying this. God keeps saying this. And you shall no longer, get ready. And you shall no longer be called Abram, but your name shall be Avraham. No longer Avram, but Avraham. For I make you the father of a multitude of nations. I will make you exceedingly fertile and make nations of you, and kings shall come forth from you. I will maintain my covenant between me and you and your offspring to come as an everlasting covenant throughout the ages, to be God to you and to your offspring. I assign the land you sojourn to you and your offspring to come, all the land of Canaan and everlasting holding. I will be their God. God further said to Abraham, as for you, you and your offspring to come throughout the ages shall keep my covenant. Such shall be the covenant between me and you and your offspring to follow, which you shall keep. Oh boy, circumcision, circumcision, circumcision. And throughout my generations, every male among you shall be circumcised at the age of 8 days. As for the homeborn slave, there everybody's being circumcised. Everybody's being circumcised. Everybody's being circumcised. As for your wife Sarai, you shall not call her Sarai, but her name shall be Sarah. I will bless her indeed. I will give you a son by her. I will bless her so that she shall give rise to nations. Rulers of people shall issue from her. Get ready for this. Abraham threw himself on his face and laughed. We normally tell the story that, and this does happen later, who laughs?
God.
Sarah laughs, right? When the little spoiler alert, when the travelers, the angel who are actually angels, tell her, yeah, you about to have a child. And she's like, no way is that going to happen. But Abraham, it's already prior to this. Abraham threw himself on his face and laughed as he said to himself, can a child be born to a man 100 years old? Or can Sarah bear a child at 90? All right. Now, Pnina, why don't you tell us a little bit about the hay that is added right into the middle of Avram's name?
That's a sign of God. The inspiration of the divinity, what you call it, of the Holy Ghost, the Holy Spirit, the Holy revelation that there is some greater force than idols that makes all this happen. Life
But tell us why specifically the hay is added.
That's the realization that there is a higher power that causes everything to happen. That's the holy.
But lama dafka hay?
The holy grace, the holy touch.
Not because of holy, but hay is another way that we write God's name.
God, exactly. That's the start of the monotheism. In other words.
So right here is the start where it's like God, quote unquote, literally is dwelling within him. And we know that by his name. And now also with Sarah, Abraham, right? The hay is added.
Right.
The hay is added. So now this is a really big monumental shift in the story of our people. When really, right, that this is when when they become these monotheists and sharing in this covenant. It's no longer, God among many gods, which, later that we see that evolution again in a different way, right? When the Israelites leave, they say, Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, who is like you among all the other gods. And then later on, it transitions in Deuteronomy, when we see the Shema, when it says God is one. There's nothing else. God is God is God. Everything is connected to it. In a nutshell, that evolution. But here is the first place where we see this transition where we can assume, even though I don't like to make the assumptions, where we can assume the evolution, the transition from
Higher power. Yeah.
from polytheism, or what is it called? What is it called when you believe in one God, but you know that there are other gods there? That's still not monotheism, is it? Or is it? There's another name for it.
And I wanted
Brad, do you know?
I don't know. There is I don't know. I have to look into it. It's probably is. The thing
Rabbi Davids has told us numerous times, but I don't remember.
Okay,
I'm gonna ask him.
Okay. The thing is that okay.
But I have a question. I mean, we've been told, I don't remember at what point we learned that Abraham had household gods.
Right.
Is that prior to this, or is that
So
subsequent to this? And
that's
how
not
does
in
that
that's
how
not
does
in the
that deal
Torah.
with that's not in the Torah?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fascinating. But so many of us know that story, right? His father was a god, an idol maker, and he's like, so that's actually not even in the Torah. That's Midrash.
Stories for little kids. Yeah.
What for little kids? I love that story.
Oh, really? With the idols?
That's a great story. It's a phenomenal story.
Okay. So it's not in the Bible. Alrighty.
Well, just because it's not in the Bible, I can't like the story.
Yeah.
No, but Brad, you're right. See, but we hear that story, and oftentimes we think that that's part of the Torah because it's so interwoven with this story. Fabulous. So that was kind of written as a way. It's almost as if this was the evolution right here.
Right.
This was the evolution, the leaving of the father's house because of that.
It also connected a little bit of what was happening in Egypt at the time. There was a transformation there that they started to believe in one God, but it's not the God that the Hebrews believed in. The God they decided that it's one God is a son. But there was already a transformation even there that the idols per se, the man-made, are not God. And they started looking like Pharaoh decided the son would be the one God. So he was supposed to be also a God because he was a direct descendant of the son. So there was a transformation going on there too. And the culture of the Israelites and the Egyptian were very close. And you find relationship between them from the beginning. So there was also a movement at the time to seek something, a force greater than the idols. So the Egyptian went with the sun because that's what the Pharaoh decided, but it was still something that was within nature, not man-made. And then the Hebrews decided about adopting this one God that you cannot see and you cannot, the greater force that created even the sun. That's my take of it.
Beautiful. Yeah. Stacy.
Yes, Rabbi, I have a question.
Please.
Yeah, you mentioned how his name changed and you added, was it the letter H?
Hey, the letter hey, yeah.
The letter
hey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could you just clarify? I thought you also indicated that was another name for God.
Yeah.
And can you elaborate on that? And how many names does God have?
A lot. Adonai is my master. That means my master.
There are like 13 main ones, but then there are so many others on top of that. There are like 40 names, something like that. But hey is, rather than being a name, it is the way, or a way, not to be confused with Yahweh. See what I did? See? Yahweh? I guess everybody must be on mute. That's why you didn't laugh. But hey is a way to write God's name. Like we say in our tradition that the Yud Hey Vav Hey, yes, those are letters, but we don't know the actual pronunciation of God's name. But and you're not supposed to write it down, Yud Hey Vav Hey, on a piece of paper or whatnot that's going to be thrown away, but if you don't want to write God's name, it's like writing G-D.
Right.
Hey with a little chupchik, is like writing G-D.
Mhm.
If that makes sense. But you have Adonai, you have Hashem, you have El Shaddai, you have Adonai Tzvaot, you have Sur Yisrael, like my rock, and right. There are so many different names, and it's through all the different. Oh, you also have Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh, I will be that which I will be. That's even a name, right? That was the way that God presented God's self to Moses. God presented to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in different ways, like El Shaddai or what. So the names are different based on the way that God presents God's quote unquote self to the person who is in relationship with. There's a beautiful midrash that talks about. It's a little bit of a tangent. So, in the Amidah prayer, when we say Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, does that sound familiar to anybody? Like the beginning, right? Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov, right? So the question becomes, why does it say Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov? Why doesn't it say Elohei Avraham, Yitzchak, ve'Yaakov in this prayer when we're talking about our ancestors? There's a beautiful teaching that says it's because God introduced God's self, or each individual had their own individual relationship with God. So God was going to be different to them based on their own relationship with God. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's why that we divide that up, though, in other places it's not divided up, but in this central prayer, right? In this central prayer of our tefillot, we say that each of us has our own individual relationship with God, and it's directly related to why. I don't know, you ever see this when you take 3 steps back. So, all right. So a little choreography in the Amidah prayer. We take 3 steps back, and then we take 3 steps forward before we say it's like Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yadi tehilatecha. Why? Because it's saying as if it sounds like that's a communal prayer, but it's really the community having their own individual prayer time, and it's as if we take our 3 steps back, as if we're leaving the corporeal world and taking the 3 steps in, saying now we're entering into our own personal space, our own personal king's chamber, if you will, with God. Hence the Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov. They all had their individual relationship. We all have our individual relationship. And then at the end of the Amidah, what do? We take 3 steps back again and 3 steps forward. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al Yisrael v'yimru amen. 3 steps back, 3 steps forward during that time. Why? Because we are now leaving our space with God and rejoining the corporeal, or rejoining the community. Ben, was that a hand? Ben, no? It was a thumbs up. I love thumbs up. Stacy, you're up.
I was feeling that spatial aspect.
Oh, I love it. Good. Stacy and then Merle.
Just a very quick follow-up. When we were talking about names for God, I remember as a kid, one of the things that I learned was that you always write G-D, you never write out the name. Is that still considered customary? Is that still the case? Or I remember that I'm a little girl, so I don't know.
That's a fabulous question. So for the longest time, I wrote G-D. Now I write out G-O-D, because one of my professors, like his name is Rabbi David Eshel, one of the smartest, most special human beings I have ever met in my life. Love that man. He was the head of the Hebrew Union College for many years. He was also my professor at UCLA. And he told me, well, G-O-D, that's English. That's not actually God's name. So you can write G-O-D. It's not actually God's name, right? So this is what he said. So I used to be like, I'm not doing it. But now, after I learned from him, I do write out God. And you know what's real funny, real quick. So his class, I had him at UCLA, his intro to Judaism class, 1,000 people in this class, 1,000 people. However, something he did not realize, which I let him know at the, years later, that his class was actually the precursor to J-Date. His class was the precursor to J-Date. Everybody at UCLA used to go to this, all the Jews used to go to this class, not because they wanted to go to this class and hear what he had to say, because everybody's like this. This is all they did. Everybody's always looking around. And everybody had their section, right? You had like the Hillel kids over here. You had like the camp kids who sat over here. You have like the youth group kids sat over here. You have the Greek life sit over here. And everybody's
That's funny.
right. And he just kept going and going and going and going and going. He had no idea, but it was amazing.
Did he publish the class list with the phone numbers too to make it easier for some of us shy guys?
Yes, exactly.
I write hey with apostrophe on it. Hey.
Exactly. That's the hey with the chupchik.
Yeah.
But I want to read what Brad wrote in the chat. Monology, thank you, Brad, is the belief in the existence of many gods, but consistent worship of only one deity.
Wow.
Beautiful, Brad. Thank you.
And to expand on what Penina inferred a few minutes ago,
Actually,
the Egyptians, there was a pharaoh Akhenaten, who was also a monologist.
Okay.
Who was the single god to be worshipped was Aten. So at the same time as we were moving towards either monology or monotheism, the Egyptians were moving in the same direction.
Fascinating. So perhaps that relationship is what the Hebrews, the Israelites, took with them when they left Egypt, and why in as they were crossing the sea in Michamocha, it says, "Who is like you among all the other gods?" This is their monology rather than monologists rather than monotheists.
Right.
I love that, Brad. Thank you. Dropping that knowledge. Phenomenal. Merle, did you have something you were going to say?
Yeah, I wanted to say that I've never heard the explanation of 3 steps back and forward.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I know that people do it. I never knew why. And so now it makes total sense to me.
And that's also, then you do 3 step back, 3 as well, and then you bow because it's like
Right.
you're in the presence of
Right.
royalty, right? You're in the presence of Melech. That's another name, right? Another name, Melech. And then when you leave, you're also like, okay, I'll see you later. Okay, I'll see you later, right? Like that. Fabulous. Well done. You're welcome.
Something very interesting. The word kadosh, which means holy, it was actually a name of a god, when they still believed in the idols. Kadosh.
I love it.
Kadesh.
Kadesh, yeah.
Of a common god. Let's put it this way.
And that is a fabulous way to say Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Thank you.
Well
Have a
done.
wonderful week.
Fabulous, fabulous discussion.
This was
Wonderful
great.
ideas.
As
You are
always.
always also very, very thoughtful, and I appreciate all of you. And you inspire me every week. I'm always learning something
We
new. I love
appreciate
it.
you.
It's a blessing to have this time with everybody. Thank you.
Shall be a blessing. And you shall be a blessing. Bye, everybody. Shabbat shalom.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.